Good morning, everybody. It's Saturday Cup of Joe here with our awesome host, Lem Moore. This is Michael Howard making a quick introduction. I hope everyone's had a wonderful week this week. I mean, looking at the Facebook page, it was just going crazy this week. We found our favorite guy from California, Mr. Mike Gall. He showed back up. I was really pleased to see that. We had some very exciting things happen in the Facebook page, as you all know, probably have seen. And for those that have not participated in the Facebook page, come on, guys, you need to do that. Give you a good example of why. Look at Frank Gall, went out and pitched and hand delivered a presentation worth $240,000 plus for a 12-year deal, which the guy was interested in. I didn't mention that in my post. He was interested in it. He might remove something or he might not. Either way, we're not talking about a $197 product or service here. $240,000. And let me mention too, Frank just started doing this whole offline internet marketing thing not too long ago. And I think some of his participation in the beginning has been in this particular group. So it's definitely worthwhile. So with that, I'd like to introduce our host again, Mr. Lem Moore.
Woo! Man! What's going on, Mike? How you doing this morning?
Loving life.
Yes, the Facebook group was very, very active this week. I was like, holy cow, what is going on? What is going on, And what about old Frank? I was like, are you kidding me? It's funny you say that because, it was like 2 minutes ago, he's like, I got those magic words ready already.
Frank is really an inspiration, I was talking to him actually last night when I got back from the movies via Facebook. And he actually was at a car dealership yesterday, and he had met with them before. This was the closing appointment, right?
Right.
And going in there, and it was a $2,000 deal. And again, we're not talking $197 deals here. We're talking real money for anybody, right?
Right.
So $2,000 deal. And, the problem that we all have is sometimes we talk too much.
True.
That's me for sure. But he talked his way into a $4,000 deal, and now he's got to wait till Monday to find out if it's going to be a $4,000 versus the $2,000 that I would have grabbed Friday. I would have grabbed that $2,000 and reintroduced the other $2,000 at a later date. But it's all about going out there and doing the things that you and Bill have talked about. I mean, that is the cornerstone of what we do, or the entry point into these businesses. But it's really inspiring seeing that activity, especially guys that share it. Guys like Mike and Frank, they're sharing their experiences. And that's the really cool part, because I think we all learn a little bit, from those experiences, even though we're not there, So, I'm just inspired. That's all.
Yeah, it is an experience, and it's a learning curve. I mean, a lot of times when we're out speaking with these business owners or representatives of their companies, you have to know how to get that bond with them so they're very approachable the next time, you see them. And it's all a learning curve, and that's one factor we haven't even touched on yet. So, wow. All right, so speaking of learning curves and different things and bonding, I want to introduce to you our next Cup of Joe legend. This guy is an amazing guy. I met him, I didn't meet him last week, but I actually saw him in the flesh last week. I think every time we had a meal, we sat together. Isn't that kind of strange? And so
I have a sixth sense about it, and I always know where there's going to be good food, and we just so happen to be at the same place at the same time, conveniently.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring on a true This is a legend right here. This is the hangout man. I've had some flack emails because I've called him the man, but he is the man. This is Zane Miller, guys. Zane, what's going on, buddy?
Hello. Oh, just happy to be here, having my own big old cup of Joe right here.
Right.
The handle came off, but I snagged this guy at a thrift shop. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Words escape me currently. I'm not really awake until I'm about halfway there. So anyway,
you know what's funny is what's funny is this morning the first thing that Michael Howard said was, "Finally, nice to meet you, Zane. I've been following you for years." I'm like, what? That threw me off.
Me too.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
It's great. I definitely appreciate the compliment. It's nice to be recognized, because there's a lot of time where I was the weird guy and like, why are you talking about this YouTube thing and this other stuff, and now it's nice to see that not only has something that I'm so passionate about caught on, but people have recognized me for that. It's really nice, because it doesn't always come around all the time. So
all right, so here's my first question for you, man. And I'm sure people are wondering, we already discussed this, people are wondering, what the hell is that in your finger in your profile?
in my profile picture. So yeah, if you can right down. Oh wait, no, I'm on the other side. There we go. Right down here. It's also the picture for on my Facebook, and it's the picture I use a lot of times in my presentations to say, hey, this is who I am. And I think this encompasses me. It's a carnivore sandwich. It's a bratwurst between two pieces of meat, and I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's some kind of beef, but it just felt right. The two pieces of meat just seemed to fit, and it was a total meat sandwich. And I am very much a carnivore. I like meat, so my friend was taking the picture, and he said, "Oh, pinky out." So that. When in doubt, pinky out, right? So.
Pinky out.
Exactly.
I love it. Well, when you were presenting that on the stage last weekend, I was thinking that same thing, and I'm so glad you let us know what it was. I was like, that is meat. That's a double meat sandwich.
That's right. So I'm hoping maybe somewhere I can get a sponsorship deal.
Right.
Yeah.
So what part of the world are you living at, man?
I live in a little town called Orem, Utah, which is about 30 or 40 miles south of Salt Lake City. So,
right.
Quiet little town right up against the mountainside. I'm about 2 miles away from my high school.
Right.
So here we are.
Awesome. Well, what I've learned from the past event, that all the YouTube experts, which means reason why I know I'm talking to you, live in Utah. I could not believe how many of those guys lived in Utah. I was like, are you serious?
Yeah. I mean, for a minute, I was just like, wow, that's pretty cool. I had no idea. And then I kind of kicked myself. I was just like, had I known all these people I could have just like walked out of my house and been like, hey guys, come over here.
Yes.
We should talk.
Exactly. Wow. You know what? We mentioned last week with Ramak about going to events and being with people, and we were saying how fun it is, but also how great it is to get with guys and, mastermind. And it felt so good sitting there being in front of Amelia, and then you were next to me, and we're all talking about her cake business, and we were just mapping out stuff. I was like, that is the nicest thing that has ever happened to me. It felt so good to have that in the present, man. It was weird, man. It just
it's a little bit surreal, right? Like, I mean, because we spend so much time in front of our computers, and the only point of reference we have with other people is just what we see on our computers, like little small images with my little meat sandwich and things like that. But I mean, that's about it. And then you get to meet people face to face. And I'll tell you this: I don't know how much you know about David Walsh. I knew next to nothing aside from his videos. The guy. Way more entertaining in person. I mean, no, his videos are great. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I mean, like the guy just has like so much personality that doesn't necessarily come through in his professional YouTube videos, right?
Right. He's like A storm.
Oh yeah, and just really funny, really fun to be around, and just something that I just wasn't expecting. It was a pleasant surprise.
Right. But we're all weird. I mean, us internet marketers, like they say, we're all weird. We all have our certain things, and when I saw you and I told you, you reminded me of my buddy, man, from back in the day. And by the way, it's his birthday. Happy birthday, John.
Oh, happy birthday, John. Yeah.
Right?
Okay, you want to know something even more odd, right?
What's that?
I was named after my great uncle John. Zane is Dutch for John.
See? It's meant to be. How about that?
I knew it.
Sorry
to cut you off, man.
That is so awesome. So let's get into this. Hangouts still rule. Yes, we have YouTube live thing going on, but Hangouts still rule. When did you start? Why did you get into doing Hangouts, man?
Oh yeah, I was at the right place at the right time. I started my YouTube career in 2008, and yeah, it's a lot easier to talk to businesses now. But then it was like, well, what do you use YouTube for? That's just for like watching cat videos and stuff. To which I would always say, well, I know what you're watching on YouTube. Haha, gotcha. So. But I just kept going. I was able to get a lot of views, push a lot of traffic, and for the right people, I was the right fit. So then in 2012, when Hangouts blasted on the scene, I had already been making courses about YouTube, and with Hangouts, they gave it to all the people who were. That's how YouTube does it, right? The more you use the YouTube tools, the more tools they give you, right? So I was at the right place at the right time, and I had already been doing YouTube marketing, and so it's like, oh, hey, here's a live component to something that you're already obsessed with, and so that's what I mean by the right place at the right time. I grabbed it. I really started diving into Hangouts towards the end of 2012.
Right.
So yeah, maybe I was about 6 months off, because some people are like, well, technically they came out like 6 months before that. Right, whatever. Maybe I wasn't absolutely on the bleeding edge. But when I started using Hangouts, you'll love this. There's actually a couple of marketers that I approached this to, because I had already made a name in YouTube, and I was like, guys, you gotta check this out. This is really cool. Right. And I don't know if you've heard the saying when it comes to information products, but like if you make any money, you can charge money for it. If you don't, then you can use it as a free way to get an email list, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, it doesn't matter if you made $1, right? You can sell it, right? So with that in mind, I had made a good $400 or $500 in a couple of weeks just using Hangouts and doing a similar interview/review model.
Right.
And I approached a couple marketers, and they're like, oh, well, you only made $500 in 3 weeks. I don't think you had. Seriously. And I mean, these are people that I knew and respected, and was like, I mean, it was totally one way, and then not like that. I was like, awesome. No, they're totally gonna catch on, because I mean, they obviously all learned their lesson with YouTube.
Right.
Nope. It took another solid year before everybody really caught on, and it was a surprise to me. But again, it was the right place at the right time. And I proved that money could be made from it, more so that is because it's an awesome platform. But hey, here we are, and now I get to be called things like Hangout Master and Guru and things like that. So awesome, right? Keep plugging away.
Hangout Master, y'all. So basically what you just said is, you had a passion for Hangouts, and you stuck with it, and then people came around and realized, oh, this guy's not so crazy. He knows what he's talking about. And then they start feeding off of everything you were doing, because once you started that, people start looking and watching you and watching you and watching you. They do it, and they watch you they're watching every little single thing you do. They go to your channel every day. They're stalking your channel just to see what you uploaded, to see what you're doing. It's true. And that's how they learn from you. And I take that as a compliment when they do stuff like that.
Yeah. I appreciate it, and to my benefit and detriment at the same time, I'm terrible at updating things. So most of what they got was just some random stuff. Like, what's this? I got nothing on my personal channel. All my focus goes into either a totally like it's its own standalone silo kind of thing. Like right. That's what I focus on, because especially like even with YouTube, I always wanted to focus on things that the everyday marketer was doing. because how could I teach the everyday marketer if I wasn't doing everyday marketer things, right? So like folks who are and I respect anybody who does this, but folks who are like, oh yeah, I did this, and one of my major offline clients was a big corporation. I was like, okay, but not everybody's aiming for that. Most of the time, it's a regular, like, just local marketplace, and a lot of people are intimidated to talk to these bigger brands and things like that. So it was always important to me to focus on what the average Joe was doing, because that seemed like the best way to show them. So the average Joe to me was, well, I don't know anybody who knows me. So I'm going to create a brand or an idea or a concept, and I would always leverage YouTube channel. My personal YouTube channel doesn't have squat for subscribers, but my business channels, I got tons of subscribers, some of them with over 100,000 subscribers. So, I mean, those, and the best part about that is no one can find those because I don't talk about them, right? And if you can find them, I'm very impressed and would love to talk to you and find out about how you did that. But again, I'm always an open book. A lot of times people will, like, I'll go to an event and they'll be like, shh, don't say things. And I'm like, okay, first of all, most people forget 99% of what they consume at an event because it's just sensory overload.
It is, man. It is. I remember having to get up and leave and go use the restroom and came back and I'm like, whoa, what happened? What were they talking about again?
Exactly. So, first of all, and second of all, there are a lot of people who are just they don't want to take action for a myriad of reasons, right? I mean, we could have an episode just about that, about like why people don't take action.
Right.
So it's fun to talk about, but like when it comes right down to it, you won't learn anything from researching me. But if you just like talk to me like a person, not like a Q&A machine, but like a person, you'll learn a lot. I promise, right?
This is gonna be a hard interview with you, man. I'm sorry, because you had me rolling at the event, and I thought, how am I gonna not cry and laugh with this guy with me?
Okay, well, see, that's now my new goal.
Right?
You brought this on yourself, Lem.
I know it, man. Bill and I were just walking away scratching our head going, that's Zane, man. He is a nut. That's good, though, because I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm not trying to offend any speakers at the Vid Summit because you guys did a wonderful job, by the way. Y'all had some very informative stuff. But when you were on stage, and I think it was during, that was before lunch, wasn't it? Or
it
after?
Was. Or no. It was. I was supposed to go on before lunch and went on after lunch.
Or after lunch. That's when you had all those big carbs and whatnot. Well, I didn't get to because I was eating fresh that weekend. And you come in, you're all just tired. You're like, oh, that carnivore's in my stomach, just sitting there talking to you like, yeah, pet me. Anyway, you got on the stage, man, and you totally blew our minds. It's like you had us up in our seats, bobbling down, ready to go. You know what I mean? And I was like, wow, that's how I want to speak. I want the crowd to be up, smiling, listening, engaging, answering questions, nodding their heads. I mean, that's what you had us doing, man. It was nice. It was very nice.
Thank you. Cool, because again, most of the time, I can hear the other people, like on a webinar or a hangout or something like that, but you don't see the audience. You hope that they're, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. But seeing that visual confirmation was fantastic. But then to get afterwards, like, wow, that was really cool. I'll also tell you, as a kid, I'm 6'2".
Right.
I'm a pretty big guy, right? Everyone's like, oh yeah, you're like sports and stuff. I was like, oh no. I'm on the, like, I'm sorry. So, like, that was just never a thing for me. Like, I am a hardcore nerd, and I was in drama and choir and ballroom. Like, I was on my high school had a ballroom dance team.
Right.
Think in for a minute, because I know, like, what? That was my school, right? So I was raised to be an actor, kind of thing. I think that's what kind of drew me to live video and YouTube marketing and all that kind of stuff, because you can still kind of flirt with that line of performing. So
True.
To get that interest and intrigue during but then to also get somebody to be like, wow, that was really, really great. Like, that strokes my actor's ego like you wouldn't believe. I'm like, oh, well, yes, yes, thank you, yes.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Thank you, Lem.
Awesome. All right, guys in the group, you go ahead and give us questions because I know you're ready for some questions. I'm going to talk a little bit about, well, I'm not going to, but we're going to ask Zane a little bit about offline clients and in the past, and we're going to go from there. Zane, give me your worst offline client you ever had. You don't have to name them. Just tell me the situation.
Actually, it was offline. Like, it got to the point where I got kind of confused between online and offline, because more and more of my clients ended up becoming like online clients and online gurus and stuff. So like, now I'm just like clients. Like, they're all clients, and that should also be something that all of you who are watching should take note of as well, because there are tons of people who know nothing about what you do, including the bigger gurus. So maybe as a quick tip before I go into my horror story is to maybe open your mind to some more clients beyond just the offline marketing world, because there are tons and tons of people who are launching products. Quick tip before the story, actually. I was doing some digging around, and you can go check out the marketplaces, right? WSOs and JVZoo stuff. And something interesting, more and more people are taking more and more time to launch a product, and they're doing certain things to get ready, so that all they need to do is click a button and they're live, right?
Right.
Well, here's something really interesting, and I'm pretty sure you can do it in Warrior Plus, but I did it in JVZoo, and I was looking at the marketplace, and you can actually toggle the launch date, right? So you can say, okay, like in anything where you see a list, you can do from ascending to descending, and come to find out, when you click on launch date in JVZoo, it'll show you like, okay, here's what's launching like right now. And then here's like launching like as far back as like 2 or 3 weeks early, right? Now here's if you really want to blow somebody's mind, right? Especially with like ranking and stuff like that. The only thing that's easier to rank than a local keyword is a totally random, obscure named internet marketing product.
True.
So you can find people. I've seen people like basically start their launch on JVZoo as early as like 3 months.
Right.
And that means, and the longer it's scheduled out, the bigger the launch that the person doing the launch thinks that it is, and that gives you a lot of information before you even get to know the person or the product. Now, of course, if you look at the product in there and it's a well-known person, even better. But look at the product, look at the name, and see if you can glean any information, and then you send that guy like your affiliate request, and then with the note you're like, oh yeah, here's a YouTube video, go ahead and search for it on Google, and bam, right? Like, you've got that obscure keyword that they want to be found for, and say, yeah, I could actually do 2 things. First of all, I could help you with this launch, and second of all, I could make sure that it does not get launch jacked.
Boom.
Launch jack insurance.
Yes, right. I was about to say, boom. How about that?
Right.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah. So looks like we've got a. Oh, Mike says brilliant.
Oh, it's brilliant. That's I was like, what is that? One to
I thought that might have been a question.
Right. Okay.
But so there's a quick tip. Go and scour some of the. Some of the different, like, I mean, there's more than JVZoo and Warrior Plus, but if you can see that ahead of time, then you can negotiate that, and trust me, especially with these launches that only last like a week.
Yep.
Best thing to do is to get some content out there, up and ranking, so that it's there as soon as people start searching for that particular product, right? So the sooner the better. The more time you have that to cook or stew, or whatever cooking analogy that you want to use. There you go, right? So, on to the horror story, right? One of these clients, as I call them, because it wasn't offline. I was really excited. I heard the concept and I was like, oh, that is so brilliant, and I was really looking forward to it. And apparently, I don't learn my lesson, because like we went through this 2 different times. So anyway, long story short, we sit down and things seem really good, and I'm like, all right, cool. And so like that was like the first meeting, and like they liked where I was going with it, and then the second meeting, man, I just like they wanted Hangouts to do something that it couldn't.
Oh.
Right? Okay. Right. And used to not be a big deal, like to hear, like, you know, like some things happen in your life and certain phrases or words you're just like, I can't hear that anymore. Please don't tell me that. So they just loved to throw around the word deal breaker. Well, if it can't do blah blah blah, deal breaker. Blah 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 blah, deal breaker. And it's like, I don't know who you normally talk to. But I'm really getting tired. And I'm like, at what point are you just like, okay, we're smiling and nice, and what point you're like, all right, that's it, you're done. I'm tired of this crap. Right. So this went around a couple times, and I was trying to be cordial, and like, okay, well, let's see if they look from this direction, and they just wouldn't have it. Like, come to find out, actually, they're just trying to milk me for more information. You know, because as I explained more details of the story to people that I knew, they're like, "Oh yeah, dude, they were totally pumping you for information. Like you should have cut bait a while ago." Right. But I'm a helpful guy. I say that because there are points where it's just like, okay, you're done, and I just want to be absolutely sure. But that when I say I'm done, I've done everything that I can. So it was just one battle after another. And come to find out, they were just trying to, you know, like, okay, let's take everything that we know and not have to pay his rate, which even at that time was a dirt cheap rate. Like, only recently have I raised my prices, and it still blows my mind. I'm like, holy crap! Like anybody could have got me for so dirt cheap. Right. And they're like, nope. They wanted to hold out, you know, for as long as possible. Of which that was the reason. Like that was like, okay, now my rate is much higher because of that, right? So it was one of those things that they didn't understand Hangouts at all, and they wanted it to do things that it couldn't, and they did not want to like actually like leverage Hangouts in a way that would help them, that people would recognize. So again, it was more so of those times where they're like. They didn't understand the platform well enough to really, you know, do anything with. So
that's a good key point there, because, you know, as you're going in as an expert, I think that we got to express to everyone out there, you have to have your walls around you also, because you don't want them to milk you from every information, because what they'll do is, normally, I've had this happen to me, they'll take that same information and give it to someone else who can do it. They know that it's going to do it for dirt cheap. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I've learned that lesson. I have. And when I saw them do what I was talking about, I thought, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Yeah. So I have a question here, and I have a few questions here. Yeah. So let's see here. There's a guy in the group. And by the way, hello, David Dale. What's up, my man? Question. Okay. If you had to choose just one site's visitors to put business op leads in front of, what site would it be you choose to target?
Yeah.
I didn't understand the question. Did you understand it?
No, I'm looking at it now.
Oh, okay. David, write that again.
Yeah, like so I mean, like, so if you're wondering, like, you know, which site, like your like maybe like your website or a feeder site or the feeder site. I don't know. There's a lot of ways that people will direct traffic intentionally to get more attention to either their website that makes the money or the website that pushes traffic. I mean, sometimes it's broken down like that, but a little clarification would be helpful.
Right. Well, I think what he's trying to ask is, let's just say I have a client who's a dentist, and I put up a squeeze page for his dentist. And I'm thinking, this is what I would do. I would put up a squeeze page, my squeeze page that I created, and then I would send the leads to the dentist somehow, and that way it would automatically go to their site, but I would collect the leads. Then I would show the dentist that I'm collecting these leads because they're on my squeeze page. Therefore, that page can't be, the dentist doesn't own it. I do, just in case something happens. You know what I mean? And then I go back later to another dentist and say, hey, look, I got these leads, these cookies and these leads. And some of y'all going cookies. We'll get into that some other day.
Yeah.
But leads, you know, so that's what he's saying. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, another point before David adds his question. I like what you're saying about the squeeze page, and I wanted to also put out there recently. I've been doing a lot more AdWords for video ads, and what I like to do is that I like to leverage the ads, but I break it up into a two-step process, mainly because for those of you who have never done AdWords for video or AdWords in general, if you want to send people to a squeeze page through AdWords of any kind, it's difficult because the landing page that they land on from the ad has to fit a very specific AdWords model, right? Yep. Like it has to have certain things, and they won't always tell you what those things are. They'll just disapprove you. They won't like suspend you or anything, nothing bad. They'll just not approve the ad.
Right.
Now, you can, of course, always call AdWords, especially like if you're giving them money, then Google will happily answer your call, right? So what I like to do is I like to use a video, a short video, to get people's attention, right? And like you should always advertisement of any kind, even if you're just pushing traffic, something short that qualifies the traffic, right? So it means that, okay, whoever's going to take this next action, they're serious, right? So especially for those of you who are just like, I can't seem to get any views on these videos, try throwing some through video, obviously, but try throwing some paid traffic at it. And I'm talking about we're talking 1 to 4 cents a click. Right now, like the major campaign that I'm doing right now that's getting thousands of views a day, like that's 4 cents a click. All right, like you can't get, like it's really hard to get any cheaper than that, especially for targeted traffic. So again, I don't say, hey, advertisement, and then go straight to my squeeze page, because they don't like that. What I like to do is I will get their traffic, and then I will push them to another YouTube video, right? It's basically like a hook video. You get their attention, you pull them in, and you go, all right, this is some great information. Now click this button, and you can leverage. Have you guys talked about annotations and things like that before?
No, we have not.
So for those of you, a quick YouTube lesson. Annotations are those little notes that pop up on YouTube that you see that a lot of times you're like, ugh, go away. But if positioned properly as a call to action, they can actually act as like the button, the guts of the system to take you from one video to another, or from a video to your website, right? So anyway, I use the advertisement as a hook to get them interested, and I'll even like cut a video in half and say, all right, cool, you want to see part 2? Click here. So the ads get the traffic, and then they're pushed to a video that goes in a little bit more detail. And in that video, through the awesomeness of YouTube, you can actually link to your website from there. And since it's not an ad, then you can have whatever landing page that you want, because it's your control, it's your channel, from your channel to your official website. Again, annotations, that's the word we're talking about here. There is a feature in YouTube that allows you have to go through a verification process, but once you do, you can link from your YouTube channel to one external website, of which, I mean, that would be where your squeeze page is. And that's been a very effective model for me, especially when I'm just like, man, I can't seem to get the views that I need to get this traffic. You do that, and you've got a low price, low cost for traffic. So there's an extra little bit in here while David asks his question, or anybody else for that matter.
Yeah, that's an awesome model right there. There's a lot of free things that we can utilize, and people are not getting it because they're not using the free tools, you know. And so it's so important. Mike, you have a question? I know you popped in and on. Look like you have a question or something, brother. Come on in.
No, I just, I noticed and that's something I don't do at all, and I noticed it on your video, Lem, and I think you were showing Mike Gall's video the other day where he was using the annotation on the bottom. I could see where that's real powerful, and that's something definitely that I personally want to look further into. Something that I'm not doing at all, and I need to. I know I need to.
Right. There was a whole course on annotations way back but it's a nice little page interrupt if you do it right. I mean, it can take you from place to place, just like Zane was saying, you know. And a lot of people don't utilize it these days anymore. I mean, they're so into other things, which is totally cool because if we know about it and we start doing it and use it, it's all good, you know.
Well, actually, I leveraged annotations to get people that I knew on my list and in my sphere of influence on YouTube. I snagged a little bit of one of your Cup of Joes. It was like a minute. No. It wasn't. It was one of your previews, and I was like, that's perfect. I grabbed your preview, and then I pushed it through YouTube Live. And then I put an external annotation on there, and I was like, "You want more? Click here."
All right, Zane, you have the power of the group. Go ahead and read Rebecca's question if you don't mind. Her last one about the annotations.
Oh yeah, sure thing. Let me make sure I got. And
Cup of Joe just came live, like literally interactive live.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at the official post. Oh crap! Which one is it? Sorry.
The last one.
The last one I see is Michael Howard saying we are live.
Okay.
I'm looking at the right post.
Here's the question: if you can only use one annotation, but you have multiple channels or web pages, what would you suggest to do to keep it down to one site?
Oh, redirects. So it can only go to one website.
External website. Correct.
So one external website. So for instance, that's exactly what I'm doing right now in the campaign that I'm working on, is that it goes to my website and then / and then I picked a redirect name, and so it's / product name, and so yes, it technically goes to my website, and then it instantly redirects to my affiliate. So you can do the same thing, right? Your website / and then your client's name, your client's product, call to action, a keyword, whatever. It doesn't matter because it's just a redirect that you put on your website that you can change anytime you want. Like Lem was saying earlier, like if one dentist says no, then you go, all right, cool. You just switch the redirect link, and you always maintain that same link no matter what, right? You gotta make sure and give yourself that kind of control, because you never know what kind of shenanigans are going to come up in the future. Right?
I love that word, shenanigans.
Shenanigans. You ever seen Super Troopers?
Oh, dude, that's like one of my favorites.
That's
the first.
The next person who says shenanigans, I'm gonna pistol it. Farva, right? Yeah.
Oh, Farva, I love that show, man. Wow.
They're coming out with a sequel. But,
right.
Yeah.
I like to give a big shout out to my EPC family. I haven't heard from them this week. They're all doing big things.
That's good.
So if you're watching this, I miss you. I'm kidding. All right. Awesome. So Zane, let me ask you this: when you are talking to, let's just say, local clients, since you know a lot about what you're doing, do you ever have a hesitant part of your body about explaining stuff to them? I know. No, I'm not just saying. Are you confident knowing that you could talk to anyone about Hangouts? Because this is something I know most of our guys are kind of on the edge with. They know they can rank a video, but then all of a sudden there's this demon in their head telling them that they're not an expert. What's your take on that?
Yeah. Well, it helps with the time frame that I've had, because the demon in my head was always, all right, this thing that you're doing, it's not working, right? Like in general, no one wants to do YouTube, no one wants to do Hangouts. You're the crazy one, and you need to fix yourself. Like those are the demons that I was always dealing with. So like I was at the right place at the right time in a couple of different ways, but the demons are no different. Like I'm sure if it was just a little bit further, the same demons would be playing that same record in my head. So most of the ways that I got over it, nothing to do with me being any kind of proactive, because I was like, I like presenting. I hate selling. Like I just like have somebody else get up and close. Like I mean, I'll be like, woo woo, yeah, let's do this.
Right.
And then somebody else comes up and does what I consider the hard part. Right. but I put myself in so many situations where I thought someone else was going to close for me, and then it was just like, okay, you're on. And like, I just had to keep going, and it was super, super painful. And you're going to go through it regardless, no matter how much you fight it. You're going to go through it, whether you like it. And Lem's laughing because he knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's true.
Like there, and I mean, like, I don't want to sugarcoat it for you, because I mean, I'm the guy who's like, listen, being told no and things like that. I mean, yeah, it hurts, but I can go to my own house and be like, screw that guy, I hate this and whatever, right? So that would be the first thing, is that you're gonna have to face your demons, whether you want to or not, and whether you like it or not. So just be prepared for that, first of all. And second of all, what I realized after that was that even when I was like, it's words and stuff, they're like, okay, would you please clarify? And they would give me some time to explain it, because they wanted to know. Like there were like, and I've heard this happen over and over again when I was fighting my own demons, where it's like, no, you keep going, and
Right.
there's always that opportunity that opens up, and it's not like, a few months later I got it. No, it's like seconds later when you're just totally screwing it up. Other people, they are other humans, right? They understand. They can sense that anxiety that you're experiencing,
Yep.
especially if you're like me, who like wears all of your emotions like right on your face.
Right.
So like, I can see that you're nervous. As sweat's just, thank you for your patience, sir. Like, so it's one of those things that you got to deal with. But what I realized is that they don't know squat about squat about squat. They don't know anything. You could be like 2 + 2 = chair, and they'll write it down.
Yep.
Okay, so I was always excited about YouTube and Hangouts, just the concept. So that went a long way, just to be excited about it. But the other thing that I realized is that my mom was a 9th grade English teacher for 20 years, and she said that every essay, everything that you write needs to be written at a 2nd grade level, which means that your explanations also need to be at a 2nd grade level. So you don't talk about Hangouts and ranking videos. You talk about live video, and you talk about how videos can be spread across all of the internet, and you are the gatekeeper. Using that, first of all, knowing that they don't know anything, and they're coming to you because you're some sort of beacon of light to them.
Right.
And second of all, they'll give you that attention, and they'll give you a little bit of leeway if those demons start cropping up. They'll be like, oh, okay. What else? What else can you recommend? What else are you trying to say? I don't think I understand. They'll work with you, and they'll be much more forgiving than the demons want to convince you of, right? And as that last final point, make it really simple, and don't go straight for ranking videos and stuff. Talk about being the person who can bring their business to the 21st century of live video and all that stuff. I know I kind of went on a rant there, but does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, and I've been there. Trust me. I was so excited. I got inside of the office and was talking to the guy that made decisions, and blah! And he's like, who the hell is this man? Get this guy out of my office, But here's the deal. I had to learn a system. And what I normally do now, and you guys can pick this up, is, and it's, if you read any kind of books or about sales and techniques, anytime you're in control of the conversation, you're going to get the majority of the win. And I go in with lots of questions for my potentials, and that's how I operate. I never, ever try to go in and sell them on something that's crazy. I always talk about how great it would be to, bring more income into the business. How great would it be to be exposed all over all the social networks, How great would it be to be seen everywhere? And they like that. And I ask them questions. Have you been implementing this model here lately? I've noticed the last few years you've done this and this, because I know what my people are doing before I go to them. And then we talk about their strategies, how it worked, how much percentages did it bring in, what was the cost of that, things like that. When you have the control of this conversation, it's easier. But I've been where you're talking about, man. Trust me.
Yeah. No, and to your point, I mean, asking questions asking questions back. That's one of the best ways that I know how to like kind of go into my own dance. I'm like, how do I? Let's see, okay, and then I start asking them questions, and then you because they, 99% of the time they don't even know how to ask the question that they have because they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
Right. So you like if there are any questions that come at you, you're just like, how on earth do I answer that? Like you have no clue. Just say, okay, is what you're saying this, or do you think like is this where you're going with this? And don't be afraid to say I don't know sometimes, right? That also like saying something like I don't know makes you more human, makes you more real, and easier to work with. They put it in their mind of like, oh, okay, I can work with this guy in the future, and they're already selling themselves before they, right? So definitely ask questions, clarifying questions, and if you can do any kind of research beforehand. Lem is absolutely right. You like if you can, you should. You should go in there with a mindset of, okay, I know about this company and I can do something for it. Even further to that point, don't try and work for anybody that you don't want to work for initially. Like go out and find, you know what, I would really like to work here or do this for this client. One of my clients, I wanted to be Blizzard, the video game company, and like that. Just, I mean, it didn't happen. It would be a very, very large uphill battle. But for what came from that were more clients along the way because I said I want Blizzard. And I course corrected from there. But it started with Blizzard, and I still got a client that I actually wanted. Right. So don't sell yourself short by getting the first client that sort of just comes your way. Look for those clients you would prefer to work with, and let those be the way to deal with these demons if you have any that are giving you these negative things. Because you get a win, and that's like screw you, demon, I'm doing this, right?
Yeah, that's my number one strategy, Zane. Is I hand select my customers. They don't pick me. I pick them. It changes everything because it forces you to do the research, all the things that we're supposed to do, really, to help a business, and that's just been my strategy, and it's the funnest way to do it because the end rated, that's awesome.
Thanks. I finally found the thread of questions there. It was in the pinned post. I was like, every time, like Facebook would be like, here it is, and then it would be a different post, and I'm like, no, I want the thing. I was just looking at it. So
they're asking questions like crazy over here. I'm getting emails.
I'm back, folks.
So, where did you find this Biggles company? I mean, what? I mean, a Blizzard company.
Okay, so for all of you non-nerds out there, Blizzard is a huge. It's now actually Blizzard Activision. They merged with another ginormous video game company, but Blizzard is the video game company that created World of Warcraft, right? So 10 million subscribers, that kind of thing. Like, I mean, the largest video game, whatever kind of thing. Like, they have their own convention. Like, there's E3. Which that's where they display like all the games and stuff like that. Blizzard was like, yeah, that's nice, but we're gonna have BlizzCon, and like it's its own thing, right? So that was my Blizzard, like if I could go there, that would be my Graceland, right? So I mean, like right from the get-go, I was like, I want that. But then what came from that, it actually parlayed into some of the work that propelled me into the expertise that I have now. From video games of all things.
Right. Wow. Dude, I'm sorry for the interruption. All the bling, the bling said the magic word, and it started going, boy. That is awesome. I was in a store yesterday with my son, and we were. It's like I tutor him at home because he goes to a private school, and then after school we do homework from like 3:30 until like 7. Right. But He has done so well, and I wish my parents had done this for me because I would be a genius today. But I was like, dude, let's go. We're going to go shopping, And then I went to the store, and they had all this old epic antique stuff, and I was like, what? And I saw an old Atari game, and I was like, whoa, man. And I so wanted to get it, but I thought to myself, what would I do? I don't even think you can plug up to my computer.
Right.
So
I mean, yep. Well, and I mean, like, you probably have the same exact game on your phone in like 3 seconds, right? Oh, I remember that game. There
exactly.
It is, right? Like
exactly.
Like in speaking, nerd speak. There's also what are called emulators, right? It's basically like putting the brain of a Nintendo or a Super Nintendo or older unit on your computer or phone, and then you like all the nostalgia you want, man. There's been a couple of slightly alcohol fueled nostalgic evenings of video games. Anyway, moving on.
Right. Moving on. Okay, so let me get back on focus here because I had to deal with these PMs here.
So, well, Mark
Awesome.
has a good question here. He says, "What are your top 3 takeaways from the seminar?"
There you go.
So yeah, I would say as far as the top 3 takeaways was first of all for me personally that I'm still not charging enough for my courses. So that's something I took away from Casey Zeman, especially for those of you who are maybe on the edge, like you've got a course or you're thinking about doing a course, and you're like, that's the first question everybody has, right? You have a course or you have an idea for a course, but how much do I charge?
Right.
Well, the first answer is always as much as you can get, but then like, okay, let's get back to reality kind of thing. What does the market bear, and what are people interested in, that kind of thing. It is always easier to lower a price than to raise it. So just start out at a high price point, right?
Man, I'm so glad you said that, brother. That's something that I don't think we've ever expressed enough of. And that has got to be training later on because it is so important. Keep going.
Oh, yeah. Whether it's an hourly rate or a product, always charge a higher price because that's going to do 2 things. First of all, like if people pay for it, there you go, right? Second of all, if you're that dollar point, like, and it happens with everybody, you look at it and say, I've never charged that much in my life. And then those demons actually kind of start working for you.
Yep,
they start going, all right, listen, dude, if you don't do this, then you're screwed. Like, I mean, they put the pressure on, and you actually you force yourself into a corner of creativity that, yes, is fear-based and isn't necessarily good for you, but it puts you in that mindset of I gotta do this. I gotta perform. I gotta make sure that this is good, and that actually forces you to meet the expectation of the price point that you set. Right. So right there, that will always put you in a better place than anything else. Because worst case scenario, you go, I used to sell this for this price, and now you're getting it for free. Always start with a higher price point, and I had to watch Casey Zeman's talk at the event to remind myself of just like, yeah, you know what, $200 for my class is probably too low. So I mean that was the first thing. Second thing is the simple fact that there is no one using AdWords for video. It's ridiculous. There is so much ad inventory not being used on YouTube. For example, like if you search for something on Google, right, the ads are always very, very targeted to your search. That's because there's a lot of people competing. Yeah, that's my new word.
Hey, let me tell you something. I was closing in one of our masterminds the other day. EPC, here we go. I said, that is the legitness of it all. And they were like, rolling, legitness.
Dude, I got to use that. That's some legitness right there.
That's the legitness of it. Go ahead.
Right, so, oh, crap. I threw off my own train of thought. What was I saying, Lem?
I don't know, man.
Mike, anybody? Bueller? No, okay. Oh, right.
Oh man.
Right. So Lem's got to take a minute. We'll be right back. We're experiencing some technical difficulties. Haha. No. So we're talking like the price points and all that other kind of stuff. So try have that higher price point. And saying, hey, I sold it for this, but now I'm giving it to you for this. It's always going to do something for you, and it's going to keep those demons in check, if you will, right? Right, there we go. The massive inventory. We're back on the same page now, folks. Thank you. So the huge inventory that's out there on AdWords for video, on Google, it's very targeted because there's so many people competing for it. Whereas YouTube, if you search pretty much any keyword, and maybe you have to do a couple of different searches, but you'll quickly find out what I'm talking about. You do some searches and you see like the most unrelated ads on YouTube, and you're like, so if this is the keyword, why am I seeing a Geico insurance? Right? That's because there is nothing even remotely close to competition for that keyword or phrase specifically on YouTube. That's why you're seeing Geico, because YouTube, they want to make their money, right?
Yep.
And they have all this keyword inventory, and they're saying, well, everybody kind of needs insurance anyway, so whatever keyword they're searching for, they might be like, oh yeah, insurance. But Google and YouTube have always been about relevancy. So any keyword that you type into Google, or not Google, into YouTube, and you see this like totally like, why is that there? That's really good news for you, because that means no one else is competing for it. And if they are, they must be just like throwing money away on something because they can't even get like the right keywords or whatever, right? So that should be a huge sign, and it was a big sign for me that I need to be using AdWords for video in more of my campaigns, because I've been always I call it chasing the caravan, right? This like when it comes to specifically internet marketing and the information marketing world, the affiliates. The affiliate circuit, if you will, right, going on webinars and things like that. Right. That's what I call the caravan, right? There are lots of people who want to share ideas, and the whole affiliate marketing thing is awesome because 50% of someone else's product is pretty sweet, and that's usually but you don't have to chase the caravan. You really don't have to. And in fact, if you're willing to pay money up front, which I know sounds scary, but if you really look at the numbers, like when someone says, hey, this is $5 EPC, like earnings per click, that's really awesome to the affiliate, but the product creator is literally paying $5 per click. Like,
correct.
Why would you pay $5 per click for anything? Like if AdWords is like, yeah, you can get pretty good traffic, right? You can get pretty good traffic, but it's going to cost you $5 per click. You would never pay that. But that's exactly what you're paying when you say, hey, affiliate marketplace, whatever, caravan thingy, here's a product, and then they send you whatever traffic. They're like, here's what I got. And sometimes it converts, sometimes it doesn't, which is why you do this weird backwards thing of like, okay, and you get that's just like earning $5 per click. But someone's paying for it somewhere. And if you want that more targeted traffic, and you have this massively huge inventory, you might as well at least give it a shot. And I bet you dollars to dimes, after a while, once you figure out your funnel, there is no way you're going to want to do the affiliate marketing side, at least from the merchant side, right? So keep that in mind, because there's this huge ad inventory gap just waiting to be used. And yeah, it's AdWords, and it's a little big and weird and whatever, but it's one of those things that you would be doing yourself a disservice if you did not dive in and at least start checking it out. Hell, they even have AdWords has a deal where if you spend $25 in their marketplace, or in AdWords, they'll give you $100 of credit. So I mean, like, you just, hey, here's $25 and just spend it through the inventory, and then you get to play with $100 of their money.
Yep.
Why not? And
it's
then
a great deal.
Perfect that funnel. You perfect that funnel, and then next thing you know, you're like, affiliate 2. I don't need to chase anybody around, right? So that would be the second big thing that I learned from the event. And the third big thing is that there needs to be more video and YouTube marketing events. They're just like that. Like I have never seen a so like specifically targeted on point event than Vid Summit, and it was the first of its kind. But I most certainly hope that it is not the last. Like we are being inundated with all forms of events in internet marketing, but none of them specifically about YouTube and YouTube then video kind of thing, right? So those are the big three takeaways for me.
Well, what really opened my eyes was like the video ads and how no one is really doing it, because I am going to dedicate almost like 3 months of doing this. It's going to slow down production a little bit, but I have to learn this, you know what I mean? It's a must. And I was really surprised to see all those guys that were doing it now. And I was like, holy moly. I remember when it was good to see Tommy Powers on there. Shouts out if you're listening.
Right.
He was on there, and he was doing video ads way back, and no one was, like, getting into it. And now you're seeing just those targeted few people in the group that was doing it. I thought, oh, my goodness. I haven't missed a boat. They're, like, 3 feet in front of me. I'm about to jump and swim and catch up to the boat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, and I mean that was even a point that Casey Zeman had brought up. Like we were at dinner, and I mean like. For me, again, I'm the kind of guy I'll be very direct. Like I'm like, hey, yeah, we're all friends, but like it's like direct at the same time, so it kind of catches people off guard.
Right, I remember that conversation.
I was
sitting next to you again.
Yeah, I was just like, I was like this, and I'm ornery about that, and like, these guys can suck a bag or whatever. I don't know what I was saying. I wasn't drunk enough, I guess. Like the drunker I get, the quieter I get. Like if I'm anyway, so I was bitching about something, and Casey was just like, dude, like I feel bad for you because you're doing all this chasing around stuff, and it just seems like it's causing a lot of anxiety. Like I don't do that because I use paid advertising, and it was just like I had it was in the back of my head, and there was I mean even a couple of demons were like, dude, seriously, like do something about this,
right?
But, but when he said it, it just like kind of all like came crashing, like all the crap was just like fell down. I was like, oh yeah, I do this. Right. And I teach this, but I had spent so much time chasing this caravan because it's what I knew, it's what I understood, and it's kind of weird when you get to that point where you can't see the forest for the trees. Yet another great reason why live events are so great, because you're able to connect with people that you respect, and they can give you perspective even when you weren't even looking for it. I mean, again, Casey, if you're watching this, man, thank you, because that meant a lot to me, and I went, oh yeah, I don't have to chase this caravan around. Like when the caravan does come around, because it's like the marketplace and business, they go through cycles, right?
Right.
And sometimes the caravan just comes right up to you. So instead of chasing them, you just plant your flag and say, I'm here. Mm-hmm. And you do your own thing, and the caravan will come around. They're like, and this happens, I promise. You stick around long enough, the caravan will come around to you and like, whoa! I mean, that happened 2 different times. I didn't understand it, but it happened to me. He was there and then was gone. Right. It was there and then it was gone. And just like you spend, like, hey, guys, over here, and they can't hear you. They're just on to the next thing. So again, my analogies kind of go all over the place, but still, use the inventory that's in front of you, because it's the cheapest, most targeted inventory you can find.
Yep.
Swallow that scary pill of paid traffic, because it's not so much about paying the money up front. It's about getting the funnel figured out. And then it's not just AdWords traffic. AdWords for video, AdWords, Bing, Facebook. As long as you've got the funnel set up the right way, that's the most important part for paid advertisement. So, again, I kind of stole the conversation.
No, you're right. What most newbies and guys don't realize is the top, I think it's 10%. No, I think it's actually top 3% of companies use paid advertising, and they have correct funneling systems, which works, and that's the reason why it's still around to this day. Mm-hmm. And if you understand what you're doing, you're going to be awesome with it. I mean, like David does nothing but funnels all day long, and he totally gets it. His clients get it, and they always, asking for him to help him out with paid traffic because it's what's going on right now, And I did ask a question to them, and I want you guys to know, as I asked this question at the Vid Summit, you still have your YouTube videos ranking, and we have now video ads. And I asked them, do we need to just quit ranking videos or do video ads? And David Walsh said, you do both.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so we still do both. Sounds good. That was good to hear,
Yeah.
There are certain changes that are coming. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, no, I was just going to say, YouTube and Google won't admit this, but I've seen it happen to me personally numerous times. Okay.
Here we go. Here we go, y'all. Pay attention. Here we go.
Every time, and I mean every single time, I've run ads through AdWords for video, and Randy asks, is this regular AdWords or YouTube AdWords? It's YouTube AdWords, right? But it can be rolled over into AdWords because they're in the same system now. But every time I've used AdWords for video, I've always seen my videos rank organically higher and faster. So, like, again, they won't admit it.
They won't admit it.
They won't admit it. Well, I mean, there's also the simple fact that it's the video is getting more views and more attention and more engagement, so therefore it raises higher in organic. But at the same time, it's hard not to draw the analogy of, well, if I pay for it, my organic listings go up higher as well, and they serve the same purpose. But again, Google won't admit that. Oh yeah, you'll raise organically higher if you pay for it, right?
Right. I just saw a video with Matt, and someone asked that question, and he was like, "No, that is not possible." And I was laughing because I thought, that's funny. But anyway, that's good. That's good. Okay. We're gonna cut it short here because I know there's a lot. I've gone my qualified hour, but I'm coming back and I'm kind of doing a little bit more one-on-one with you. But guys, we're gonna have Zane Miller again here real soon. So be looking out for the dates on there because there's a lot of things that Zane has to share with us that we have not even get to jump on yet. I mean, there's a lot more we have to discuss, and we can talk all day. Bill and Zane spent like almost 2 hours at the event outside while I was inside. My butt was hurting, by the way, sitting in those chairs. And I kept looking, where is Bill? Where is Zane? And they're outside. I thought, oh, there you are. Okay.
Right.
They're talking about some good stuff. But, wow, good. What do you think about Owen? He's a character.
Owen, he's a sharp guy. He knew what he was doing.
Oh, Owen, love that guy, man.
Okay. I did want to point out here real quick, just because so I could show off this card, right? So I don't know if you can see this, but do you see the name on that by chance?
Admiral Potato.
Okay. Now my brother and I were arguing about whether or not this guy like because when he handed me the card, he was like, "Here you go," and I'm like, "Oh, is that like a nickname?" He's like, "Nope." Like, wait, so you're telling me your last name is Potato?
Oh my gosh!
Right? I can't make this stuff up. Like these weird things happen to me, so I'm just like, and so your first name is Admiral? There's no way. Like, seriously, my brother and I'm like, dude, he had like a very straight face. He's like, hey, some people out there, they just want to, they want that reaction. I'm like, but he made business cards that said Admiral, but who does that? So let this be a reminder to you about going to meetups, because maybe you'll run into somebody like Admiral Potato. He's somebody that I ran into at this meetup, and it was all about how to make video creation, not video marketing, but video creation better. I was at this meetup specifically because my brother invited me to it, because he's the back-end production guy, right? He's had 15 years of 3D animation experience. When it comes right down to it, if you want a video made from him, he's going to charge you $150 an hour. So don't ask for a video done from him, because that's what he'll charge you. So, we ended up at this meetup because he wanted to figure out a way to be more efficient in his own video creation, and that was the whole point. It was video production, not video marketing. But here's the thing that blew me away. Here's another one. This is Atticus Pixel Labs, right? This guy, he actually runs the meetup, and he has clients all the time paying him to make videos. But as soon as we were talking and this group of guys learned about who I was and what I could do, I got lots of cards, and these are cards from guys who make super high-end videos, and they don't want me to be to work for them. They want me to talk to their clients, because their clients won't shut up about questions about, like, okay, you've made this awesome video, now get me traffic. Like, again, the client just sees that as like, well, you're like video, so you can also market this stuff. And they like over and over, they're like, I can't do it. Finally, they have somebody like me randomly pop up out of nowhere, because if it wasn't for my brother, I wouldn't have done this, right? So come to find out, like this one card is a gateway to, like, 5 or 6 clients a week. Again, if you find the right person. This guy was like, dude, I get this all the time, because he's the guy who started the meetup. I mean, usually the people who like start and run meetups are the people who are trying to really hustle. They're the guys you want to really talk to, the people who run it. So as a little FYI, look around your industry and see if there are other areas where you can connect with people who are just might be like worker bees, but they get to the queen, the decision maker, the person who goes, oh yeah, I need to pull that person in specifically, and instead of knocking on their door, they're calling you, say, get your butt in here and explain this, because this guy can't. So there you go. Meet your very own Admiral Potato. See where it takes you.
There you go. Wow, that is beautiful. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Zane Miller here. I'd like to thank all of our guys in the group who are awesome. I also want to thank personally Rebecca. You are awesome. You've helped me get this site going up, getting everything going on, everything with the guests coming on, and I'd like to thank you for helping me. I also like to thank Mike Howard for being a moderator in the group and doing anything. So Mike, you do have the power to get rid of people and do all that stuff. I don't think you realize that yet, but I'm sure you're on the lookout for all that. We'd like to thank all the guys who are jumping on new with VO Alpha, who's asking questions and all that. Like I said, we're going to have Zane Miller on again here real soon, because we're going to go over a few things about a class that he has, and it's so powerful. I mean, wow. One other thing I want to add before we close. I'm sorry, Mike. Have you guys, if you're going to meetup groups and you're going to visit, like, if you have this future idea, I'm going to go to a meetup group and I am going to rank something for the word meetup group, like the best meetup group in your area or whatever. I would do that. I think I'm about to do that. I'm going to put the best meetup group in Dallas, Texas, or whatever, because I know there's a lot here. And the first thing they're going to ask me, so what do you do? I'm saying, I need everyone to take out your phones, and I want you to Google the best meetup group in Dallas, Texas. This is what I do. That right there is going to get some questions for me. And I'm just going to sit down and say, thank you very much at the end. I love taking questions and cards, whatever. I don't know anyone's doing that right now. All right, there you go. Mike, take it away. Zane, love you, man. I'm glad to have finally met you in the flesh. We'll talk to you soon. Mike, talk to us.
Nice.
Absolutely. Zane, thank you very much. That was very insightful. In fact, I definitely love an opportunity to learn more. How can people get to know you a little bit better personally here in the group? How can we, obviously we can Google you, but where's the best place for us to find you?
Well, you could Google me, but it would be better to find me on Google+. I know there are some of you, okay, most of you, who are like, whoa, Google+. It's the new wave kind of thing, right? Like, this has already happened 2 other times where people were like, nah, I'm like, trust me. So find me on Google+, circle me, but also send me a message, right? Like, you can click in the little field and say, send a message just to me, and just let me know that hey, from Cup of Joe or Vid Summit or something like that, connect with me. so that I know who you are, because I like to use Google Plus specifically to deliver my content, not just to my paid folks, but also the people who are interested in learning more about me. And it's like a specific Google Plus circle thing, right? So that would be the best way to connect with me on Google Plus, and it'll push you into doing some Google Plus stuff and see the power that's in there as well. So like two birds with one stone. Zane Miller on Google Plus, you'll see that same meat picture that I've got. Yeah, that thing. That's how you know it's me. So there you go.
Awesome. Well, thank you, and again, Lem, thank you for sharing some of that insight from the Vid Summit. You know, there's a lot of us in the group that wish we would have went, and I'm surprised they didn't have a video option to buy the video training, or did they? Or do they?
No, they didn't have it at the time. I don't know why. I mean, sometimes most companies don't do it, but that would be one of the things that I know that Bill and I are going to do later on when we host an event, is have a live stream for you to pay. But we're also, as VIP, we're also getting a recording of the whole thing. So for our own, for those who are out in the halls not paying attention.
Right.
That's this guy.
Well, that is awesome. You know, great Saturday Cup of Joe today, and great action this week. You know, I would say that for follow-up for this coming week, I think it would be really cool, and if you don't mind, Lem, I'd like to start a new thread or a new post on the Facebook page just asking the question of what other people are doing to initiate new business. And let's just come up with the loop can see, you know, not a real long explanation of what we're doing, just a short explanation of what it is that we're doing in our business to on a weekly basis to generate customers or interest in what we do as marketers, and just share you know, those things. You know, there's a few of us that are doing that already, but I'd like to encourage others that are being silent in the background to pipe up and share what you're doing with the group.
That is a perfect idea. That's you the man. Get it going. You are the man. So that's a perfect idea.
Yeah.
Guys, if you need this replay, and I'm going after this, if you need the replay, just go to Saturday Cup of Joe /live, and you can also ask questions through SpeakPipe, and we'll get those questions answered for you. More's out. Go ahead and do your thing, Mike. Zane, nice to talk to you again.
All right, guys. Everyone take care and have a profitable week this week, and see you online. Take care, guys.